My name is Teresita Blanco, the Artsy sister. And today we're gonna be reading Saturnastra Karina, Lesson 3, Part 1. The most beautiful moth in the world. After departing from the bar, Karina returned home quite satisfied with herself and her little lesson. Lucian and Carmenta felt a little guilty about leaving. Carmenta felt she should have really brought the items to the dancer. Lucian didn't know how to handle the situation, but at least he felt that Karina did not do the right thing. His opinion was also shared by Marduke. As soon as she opened the door, she found her brother sitting before her in a very angry-looking throne. The throne was the mimic Vilkal, and he had seen what had occurred, and he had taken the items with him to the apartment for safekeeping. He would have returned the goods himself, but he was a prankster among strangers. He was machinating a way to get into the student's home in order to start doing spooky pranks on them at night. This little plan of his was a work in progress. He might change his mind about it altogether, or he would find something else to draw his curiosity. When Marduke spoke to his sister, he said, "We need to talk." This statement felt like a physical blow to Karina due to the coldness behind those words. "What? I don't see why you need to be so tense with me," said Karina, pacing a bit. "Yeah, I was doing my job, wasn't I? It pains me to call on your nonsense, but I will not have you become another Nalini. The people in Veragerung are under my protection, and anything you do to them, you do to me, sister," said Marduke. Like Karina, Marduke was wearing the skin of a human. Not like literally the skin, like he's in the form of one.
Okay, yeah.
He's not really human, but, you know. This human skin was about 37 years old. It wasn't his official age, but he felt that he looked old enough so that people might take him seriously. His short black hair had many white streaks. His face still retained delicate features, considering that his first contact had been with a maiden. Still, his brow had many lines when he looked pensive, and his eyes looked heavy with crowfeet. This created the illusion that he was thoughtful, and that he spent many nights awake thinking about the good for his kingdom. Marduke indeed did not sleep, for he had no need to do so. Still, he would indulge in dreaming from time to time to restore his power. His friend was a bit more muscular from what he usually preferred. He had made those changes while looking at the historical records stored in the archives. Among them, he found a picture of Michelangelo's David. He thought that the expression of the face seemed regal, so Marduke slowly evolved into it to earn the respect of his people. When he was not amused, his true nature made faint ripples. The only tell of his true form came in the form of the color of his eyes, for they changed from blue to cyan. Since both colors were within the blue eye spectrum, the change was barely noticeable. The people who did observe the change just thought that it was a trick caused by the flickering of the candles. Indeed, the light was always flickering in the entrance hall. The household deities were trembling ominously, making the candles and the old lanterns flicker. Marduke turned to stare at the lights, and he said to the Hatihas in a light tone, "Enough with that nonsense." The Hatihas are like household deities, that they make certain that everything's like in tip-top working order. Marduke turned to his sister, gave a sigh of frustration before continuing. He said, "Look, Karina, in accordance with our own rules, I sentenced you to teach the laws using proper pedagogy. The days where you do not teach, you will help your sister Nalini in her habitat for fairies project in Veragerung. You should have no problem with seeing as though you have an affinity for plant life." When Karina heard this sentence, her heart sank. Like her sister Nalini, she did not understand what she had done wrong. Even when Marduke showed the memory fragments of her crime, she still couldn't see what she did wrong. Marduke did not insist anymore. As was tradition in such cases, Karina would continue with her community service till she saw the error of her way. It would take about 2 years, but then one day she saw a revelation before her, and then she finally understood. Karina was with her sister Nalini in the abandoned castle of Persimmon. Nalini was more or less done with the streets and boulevards of Veragerung. Before tackling private property, she said she would put the large real estate of a castle for good use. Near her was the ever-present and silent Vicus. As of lately, he was roaming the castle because there was nobody around. Nalini was sporting her lovely Moth wings. She was gravitating towards the color scheme of the gray Sphinx Moth. The training ground was overgrown by bad weeds, thorns, and vines. The center fountain was more or less in one piece and still running. Time, bro?
9 minutes.
Nalini was sitting there with her flute, and she played her song while her mind surveyed the area in an echolocation type of fashion. She could have looked around with her regular eyes, but she was in a musical type of mood. It was even a miracle that her brother had allowed her to keep her little flute, considering all the chaos she caused with it. Karina sat and she said, "What a bother." "A bother indeed," said Nalini, stopping her music. She added, "Now quiet down and let me continue my work. Unlike you, I have a lot of community service to finish before I'm even allowed to do the whole feeling repentant and apologizing stage." "You should ask Obero for forgiveness and be done with it," said Karina. "Why? I didn't do anything wrong. It was his fault." "Would it have killed him to say, 'I am one of you guys'?" asked Nalini. "It could have," said Karina. "This goes to show the importance of fact-checking." Shut up your face, little sister," said Nalini, pointing with her flute. The conversation changed when the sisters heard an owl hooting. Nalini liked owls, so she said, "Cool, an owl." "Isn't it a little bit early for them?" asked Karina. "He should be roosting," suggested Nalini. "Perhaps," said Karina. The conversation returned to the topic of plants and flowers. Neither sister seemed inclined to actually speak with one another. The sisters, bound by a filial shame, bent down and started weeding the ground. They could have used a rake and tools, but the community service encouraged getting as close to the earth as possible. The smell of soil pleased Karina, and after digging a little deeper, the earth had attained a peculiar red color. Just a couple of years ago, this arena had been used to train soldiers. Countless of children had been maimed due to the unsafe training practices performed by the previous king. Before Marduke took over, the army had a survival of the fittest mentality. Marduke reformed this training, and everyone who entered the army actually survived graduation. The new overgrowth in the castle ground was particularly strong. It was almost as if the goddess Artisa was reclaiming what once belonged to her. That's like your earth goddess. You know, like dirt and plants and whatever. Time?
7 minutes 27.
While picking up the grass, Nalini said, "You know, this place once used to be an elven temple to nature. The only thing that remains from that are the stone steps and the blue marble floor." "Is that so?" said Karina, half paying attention. Nalini frowned when she noticed that her sister wasn't listening. She said, "Hoot, hoot, hoot, hoot," said the owl. It was then that the most beautiful moth in the world appeared. It had been hiding between the columns. Feeling a bit thirsty, the moth went to collect some nectar from the bad weeds and the weird flowering trees that were growing. When the conditions were right, seeds that had been lying dormant for centuries would rise to the surface. The strangest of the tree was a rainbow Eucalyptus debula tree. The bark had a nice color, was nice and colorful, with different swabs, as if created by an impressionist artist. The tree was unusual because it normally thrived in the rainforest. It was also non-native. Over the last 3 years, the winters have been snow-free, and the weather had been particularly hot and wet in Veragerung. This allowed the tree to grow 14 feet, which was about the average for this type of tree. Since the non-native tree was so unusual, the locals were giving it more importance than it deserved. At the moment, this rainbow-looking tree was blooming. Its small flowers were nothing special to look at. Only the bark caught the attention of the discerning nectar eater. As for the moth, the bark was a meter tall. It had a fluffy body and large black eyes. It's a meter, it's a huge, huge moth. The wings were like the plume moth, with blue and red and yellow coloration. These overgrown moths were very rare. One only saw one per planet. The owl flew near this moth, and as a defense, the moth started vibrating. When the owl made eye contact with the moth, it became hypnotized. Under the hypnosis, the owl believed that he was a moth as well. Therefore, he didn't see the moth as food. Since the owl saw the moth eating pollen, it started to imitate it. How long does the hypnosis spell usually last? Inquired Irene. About half an hour, said Karina. While Karina saw the moth paying no attention to the owl was struggling to keep up, and then she suddenly had a revelation. She understood what she had done wrong, and a sense of guilt fell upon her, and it was soon overtaken by relief. Nalini felt the change upon her sister, and she smiled and said, "Well, you can now go apologize so that you can go on with your life." "I still want to help you with your gardening duties," said Karina. "No, plan for yourself, not for me. I still have an important lesson to learn. Until I do, I will continue toiling in this field," said Nalini, bowing. Karina knew that it was best not to press the issue. Her sister was stubborn. The first thing she did was report her progress to her brother. He was pleased to see that the light of understanding upon his sister's face. She had indeed learned her lesson, and she was finally free to resume to teach her classes in the way that she originally wanted. Time?
2 minutes.
All that remained was for her to fetch her remaining students and inform them that the class was finally in session. The first person she tried out was Casimir. Karina had just left the palace when she ran into him. He was a bit of an elusive fellow by nature. He could only be found when he allowed it. He had not changed much since last she saw him. He still had the same face and eye, only that he had gotten a little taller. He had less score as soon as Karina's classes became more mundane. Karina said, smiling, "Casimir, what timing. I wanted to apologize for abandoning you in a dingy bar." "Really? I don't remember that ever happening," said Casimir, trying to recall something that had happened years ago. "Well, either way, I was irresponsible to bringing you guys to a potentially dangerous place and leaving without you," said Karina. "It's just a bar. I have gone to bars many times and nothing's ever happened. And even when a fight breaks out, the guys can't put a stop to it quickly. For another bars in the kingdom, the ones in Veragerung are actually as peaceful as a temple," said Casimir. Time?
2 minutes.
"If you said so, but getting into a fight is the least of most people's problems. City people frequent bars, and they're always fishing for idiots," explained Karina. "And in this story, we are the idiots," said Casimir, folding his arms. "Now you're catching on," said Karina. "By and by, I'm going to restart my true classes. If you want to return, I will still get normal classes for those who seek refrigerated knowledge, but if you really want to learn my stuff, then only come to the afternoon section at the same place as before." "Oh yes, how could I ever live without going up so many stairs," said Casimir, sighing. "Look, they just installed an elevator, but you can take it. And you can just but if you take it, you can just forget about me teaching you in earnest," said Karina. After saying this, Karina continued on her way. Casimir heard rumors that Princess Karina had done a crime and had been doing community service. When he heard the reason why she was sentenced, it gave the gentleman quite a lot to think about. Time?
1 minute, 30 seconds.
The following person Karina visited was Babiso. She found the 15-year-old halfling in the public park with a large stroller. He had been quite a frown in his face, and he had a baby bottle in his pocket. Some of the other passing boys were giving and laughing at him and calling him a babe for being a responsible older brother. Karina came to Babiso and she said, "Hello, good afternoon. Hey, Teach, you got any free classes coming up on Shao Reading?" asked Babiso. "You just assume that because I'm a lady that I'm supposed to know how to raise a kid," asked Karina, frowning. Time, bro?
1 minute, 30 seconds.
Though her eyes glowed with amusement, Babiso blushing said, "I didn't mean any offense by it. Sorry, Tish. I'm just messing with you, Babiso," said Karina, laughing, seeing him so worked up over nothing. The two talked nothing with one another till they found a shaded area to speak in earnest. Oh yeah. Alright, let's continue with this later.